Hello, welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classics / Non-Classics. This is episode 125, Doubleshot 62. And in this review, we're doing two Batgirl trades. First up, Batgirl Volume 1, The Darkest Reflection. Basically, in this story, it's Barbara Gordon returning as Batgirl, even though they kind of retcon basically of how long she was paralyzed. Some people may have read the story, and of course the story is written by Gail Simone. And beautiful artwork, too. See there? Beautiful artwork. And the villain of the story is a guy called Mirror. He's actually one of three villains that Gail Simone are sort of basically reoccurring. Actually, there's four villains that show up in here. That show up in her entire run. But only one of whom basically has a long-lasting impact. This villain really does not have much of a lasting impact. Plus, is also the debut of Melody McKnight, who's also shown up in the series Arrow for a few episodes before she decided to leave for some unexplained reason. Oh yeah, and there is a when thing opens, it's a Killing Joke. Yeah, they keep that canon. Thank you, DC Comics, for keeping that story canon. The whole purpose of keeping the story canon was this very comic right here. Now, this trade only collects the first 6 issues of Batgirl. Oh, and by the way, this did draw some mixed reaction when they actually had Barbara Gordon return to the role of Batgirl and basically kind of get rid of Stephanie Brown. That basically had people going nuts for about 3 years until Stephanie Brown showed up on the page of Batman Eternal. As spoiler, though Cassandra Cain, her only no appearance in 52 was shown up in the Batgirl Future Sin one-shot, which I kill someone, by the way. This is really good. 9 out of 10. She does beat Mirror in the end. Yeah. First villain. Not bad. It's a really good start to this run. Next up, Volume 2, Knightfall Descends. This one collects issue 713 and issue 0. And this is, of course, this is the fourth volume of the Batgirl series. And this volume is actually a bit thicker than the previous book because it collects 2 more issues. This one collects like 8 issues in it. And this book is also the debut. There's few distinctions for this one. One, this is the debut of the recurring villain known as Knightfall. Yes, the villain is named after the famous storyline in the 90s, but she's unrelated to it at all. I think Gail Simone must like that story, the name Knightfall, so much so she named a villain after that. The villain is somebody whose parent was murdered by some guy, and then she finds him years later, and she tortures him for years. Yeah. Oh, and also the ending story in here, that's actually also the start to Death of the Family. But the thing was, the whole issue was just the conclusion to the story that was going on here. I think that Gail Simone didn't finish the story in time, even though it's definitely tie-in. She just felt as though she used the issue to wrap up the storyline instead of just putting it to the side and finishing after Death of the Family. That's nice of her to do. And plus, issue 0 does also show off what was her first costume as Batgirl. This, by far, was her second. I mean, she went through like a few different costumes. It's explained in the 0 one-shot, in the 0 issue, that she went through like 2 different costumes. So this costume right here that she's wearing, that she wore through the entire Gail Simone run, is actually her 3rd costume. And the costume she's currently wearing is her 4th costume. Overall, Barbara Gordon has actually worn 5 costumes, because I also include the original costume she did when she made her debut in the story, the $1 million debut of Batgirl. Oh yeah, and Batwoman shows up in here too. Melanie McKnight is a recurring character during this run. I think she disappears from Batgirl after Death of the Family, but I haven't seen her since then. She has to show up currently in the book. And of course, the book is not written by Gail Simone, it's written by somebody else. But this book, I also give this one 9 out of 10. This is a fantastic story, but I would recommend reading both this book and this book, both side to side, so you get like kind of a complete story. But it basically flows really well that way. That's so you don't miss anything. So I recommend basically getting both trades, okay? So, there's that. Alright. That was my 125th episode. Sorry this is a bit short, but I don't want to waste much time with it. But I recommend you guys get those Batgirl trades. Now, currently there has been at least about 5 trades released. 6. There were 6 trades released, but for the current creative team, they decided to relaunch and bring for those trades and just call like Batgirl Volume 1, Batgirl Burnside. I don't know why they did that for, but they did. But, yeah, those are the first 2 of 4 trades that collect, first 2 of 6 that collect Gail Simone's run for their book. Fantastic run, in my opinion. Now, she was fired not long after completion of Death of the Family. She was actually just prior to the end of Death of the Family. She was off the book for 2 issues. That's in the 3rd trade. She does come back for issue 19, and then from that point on, she's on the book to issue 34, and the Future Set one-shots, and she also does the annuals, and that's it. Though 2 of the characters that she made debut in this very story, also, this book also had Night of Owls tie-in, which is really good too, which had a debut of Strex, who later went on to the Birds of Prey series. She was on the book for pretty much almost ever after she joined. She stayed on until the book ended, and then she got transferred to Gail Simone's Secret Six, and Gail Simone also brought over another villain that she created, a character known as Ventriloquist, which she's in the Batgirl Wanted training. I'll eventually get that. Eventually, I'll get the library to get that. But yeah, so that's it. Stay tuned for the next video, which will be 126. Okay, see you there. Bye.